Pit, pit, and away. We just had the most spectacular pink sunrise. Oh my God. The colours were insane. One of my mornings, overnighters lives that I do this week for the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial, I will actually be awake when the sun comes up. So to end my live, I will go out onto the deck. I'll have my morning coffee, even though I'll be heading to bed. I'll probably have a tea, actually. And we can digest what's happened overnight in the trial and all overnight for Australia. And then watch the sun come up. Hey, Cement Shoes. Good morning, Deb. Hey, Deb, did you see the sunrise this morning? It was incredible. It was, down here, the pinks, and, it was just divine. I got out of the shower and walked into the living room, and I was like, my God, have a look at this one. Hey, Be the Star, how you doing, Groover? I mean, look at the sky now. It's pretty stunning. But, hey, AJ. Are you still awake, Groover? Have you gone through the night? I had a quick flick around to try and find a few things this morning. I had to listen to another one of JD's security peeps. I heard Elaine, who sounds like Diane from Diane's channel. I'm going to keep saying that till it sticks and other people start saying it too. Although it's a very little joke for a very limited community on YouTube, but some will get it. I heard an objection, harassment. That was gold. God, the more that woman speaks, the less the more I dislike her, the less I like her. Cement Shoes. So yeah, anything I need to know in readiness for my sanity. It's Wimbledon, but it kind of is. It's the legal equivalent of Wimbledon. Dirty donkey. Good morning to you, dirty donkey. You're polite. You came in and said good morning to everyone, so nice to see you. Whoever you are. I like your name. It's making me laugh. Oh, you didn't last through the night. Yeah, look, I didn't find anything. I mean, I must admit I wasn't really, I didn't have a lot of time to bounce around. But, Trixie, hello. But I just heard another one of JD's security guys. I had listened to Debbie, the nurse's testimony. I gave up on her because she really didn't give much. She had a very good selective memory. Oh, good morning with a U in it. That's grim. So, yeah, if anyone's got anything that came out that was, I think if anything really massive had happened in court today in the US of A, there would have been a lot of videos about it. I couldn't find anything that was terribly contentious, but I did like his security guard, who, like the others, has been very real, and he's like, yeah, Johnny was given as good as he got verbally, but you know, his testimony is crucial for he witnessed her throwing shit at him. Just another confirmation. Yeah, the PR team, they got the boot yesterday, didn't they? I didn't realise they were a former PR firm for Barack Obama. I mean, we're talking big guns. You had to change your name. You were cloned. What was your name, dirty donkey? Damn it, these glasses, I cleaned them before I left and they're fogged up. That's the one downer of the weather getting cooler. I need windscreen wipers on my glasses. Um, yeah, gave the PR team the boot. I mean, she should give her legal team the boot. They're just so bad. There's talk that she'll be advised not to testify. Well, interesting. I mean, that would mean her counterclaim would be null and void. Hey, Scout. Slides in. I know who you are. You were cloned? Oh, my God. Well, it's really good to see. I haven't seen you for ages. We had a troll the other day who wasn't funny enough for me to have a lot of fun with him, dirty donkey, but I'm now on troll alert. But I know exactly who you are, and it's so good to see you. And I think everyone else will work it out too, from your little clue. I'm trying to think, if Amber doesn't testify, don't get me wrong, I used to frequently tell my clients to not get on the stand because it was definitely in their best interest that they zip it. And then the onus, which the onus is already on the other side to prove their case, but it became even more difficult for them to succeed, I guess, sometimes. But how does that work? So the US system is surprising me in a lot of ways, because I was listening to a panel of, well, I don't know if they were all lawyers, but I mean, you guys know I keep calling him Rakita Law, but everyone calls him Rakita Law, but he's Rekieta. Is that not pronounced Rakita? How is that Rakita? Anyway, I'll try to read chat when we're in crawly traffic. I mean, we are now, but I've got to focus because we're approaching an intersection. But yeah, I was listening to Nick Rakita on a panel, might have been on his channel actually last night, and it really is it's the, you know how they say, trying to think of an example. Well, like, you know, the people's princess, like Diana, or no, that's not quite the right one, but, oh man, I'm trying to think. The actor's actor, I think, has even been used in this trial. Like, he's an actor's actor, meaning that there's an actor who all other actors not necessarily aspire to be, but are fascinated by, they may learn from, or they might be absolutely ludicrous, but they're captivating. This trial is a lawyer's trial because, don't get me wrong, you don't have to be a lawyer to appreciate the absolute chaotic mess that it is. But there's so much going on that is just confounding to lawyers. Like, confounding, I tells you. Oh, Scout, are you congratulating AJ on getting a wrench? Phew, yes, I'm the new wrench in AJ. But as Scout will tell you, AJ, even though Scout is a very dedicated mom, you literally can, like Deb, have a wrench and do sweet fuck all. No offence, Deb. We don't have a group mod thing because I think it's, look, I'm gun shy because back in the dark ages when I first discovered the YouTubes, I was made a mod for JS for Justice, and within months of us arriving on YouTube, all of our private chat was put out on YouTube. So I'm a bit wary of group chats and stuff, but I sometimes feel like I'm being a bit irresponsible that I don't hook you all up. But then I kind of figure everyone finds a way to contact each other, you know, and I'm always happy to introduce people if people want to do that. But that's up to you guys. But there's really no rules. Just we block hate speech and we time out wankers. Because there's nothing more fun than timing a wanker out for 5 minutes and they come back and they've had 5 minutes, which is a long time in the YouTube world which is funny, isn't it? Because in other respects, YouTube flies by, but they've had 5 minutes to come up with a good one-liner and they come back in with another crappy one, like Cool Boy did the other night, and Francesca, boom, timed out again. Brilliant. Use your wrench for comedic value. Before Joey had a wrench, she and Mel and I used to, well, Mel and I more, but Joey got into the swing of it too. Dare each other to time each other out. And we used to think that was the funniest thing ever, but, you know. Is Graz in the chat? Oh, you better explain to Graz, this is not the typical, I mean, I do drive therapy, but please explain to him I don't always go live from my car while driving. Normally, I only give testimony in court while driving and vaping. I still love Alejandro. That's what I mean by in a way, it's a lawyer's trial, because there's just so many great things going on that everyone watching it is getting entertained by. But there are some things that for us are just like, wow, how on earth is this possible? So cool to see you in here, Graz. Hope all's well with your groover. But yeah, I do a thing, it used to be called drive therapy. It still kind of is. Where the stuff that happens on YouTube that does your head in, I drive and get it out of my system on my way to work. I used to bounce around in some really dodgy communities. I didn't think they were dodgy at the time, but so I'd have a little vent and everyone else in chat could have a vent, and then we'd kick off our day vent-free. Sometimes we do it on the beach. We go for a walk on the beach and have a vent, and then we throw our woes out into the ocean. I mean, this is... I would have absolutely loved to have had a witness like him. Oh, my God. But there's no way, obviously. Like, the giving testimony from your car thing was obviously a COVID thing. I just wish the judge had quoted the Princess Bride after that. I mean, she was clearly gobsmacked, but I wish she'd said inconceivable. I think all trials should contain at least one Princess Bride quote. That used to be my mission. A barrister I used to brief a lot, and I used to have all these little games well within what we were doing, and all to advance our case, of course, but it was sort of to entertain each other. And quite often the challenge for the day would be including a Princess Bride quote in court. These days, if I was still going to court, which fortunately the job I have now, we brief everything out when it gets to that point. Not that I don't like being in court, but it's just a different job. I mean, I'd have to be full-time for starters. But these days, if I was still a criminal barrister and sitting in court with that barrister, although he's a judge now, and this is not even in the state where I live, but it would be Schitt's Creek one-liners. Like, we would have to get a Schitt's Creek line in. Or a Grace and Frankie, just something more contemporary. Someone's a good boy. Good boy, boo-boo. Hey, crime scene cleaner. Hi to anyone that's wandered in that I haven't said hi to. Safety first. Does it freak you out? You're like, oh my God, she's going to crash. It's so weird. I watch Ian, IW Rocker, and reacting to a lot of Australian stuff. And one of the things that he's adamant we're getting wrong is driving on the left-hand side of the road, although he does like a right-hand drive vehicle. But I don't, like, I've driven in many a country where you drive on the other side of the road. And I guess it's just literally what we are. Oh, we're going to be crawling. I'm not taking the country way. We're going this way so I can chat. I know it's what you're used to, but just logically, it just doesn't make any sense to me why you would be going forwards in that on the other side. Like, this side just makes sense. But then when you're sitting in a left-hand drive car in the US, being on the other side, like adapting to which side of the road you drive on, I didn't find that difficult because it's kind of logical based on where the steering wheel is. Crossing the road, however, I had a few close calls, one in the US, in LA, but also Vietnam. I loved crossing the major roads in Vietnam. It was like an extreme sport. So you've been having a little break, Crime Scene Clan. I think it's really important that everyone puts their lives first, and that's their priority. Like, YouTube, for me, is what I do when I feel like doing it. It's not when I feel like I need to be doing it or should be doing it. You would crash? No, you wouldn't. You'd get into the car and sit behind the wheel, and it would make total sense for you to be on this side of the road. I feel bad that you promote my podcast channel. I've put nothing on it for ages. I was thinking of uploading all the Depp and Heard stuff I'm doing because it is kind of just become a bit of an archive channel of my crime stuff. I think it's good to have an archive channel, like the Shitty Kitty Kitchen's got all my cooking stuff. Oh, my God, guys, I made the most amazing fish curry last night. I can't wait to have that when I get home. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, or I call them that community. I call the sidekick channel community. Everyone else calls them the awareness or in fact, you could call it the sidebar if you want to go a bit legal. Although we don't use the term sidebar in Australia. Oh yeah, you're into the fish curry. Oh my God, it's so good. I bought at Easter some amazing seafood, and one thing in particular was really expensive, but it was worth it. But then I changed my mind what I was going to make at Easter, so I don't usually freeze fish, but I know this particular fish, which is a Tasmanian fish called trevally, blue eye, freezes really well. So I'm going to be late for work. There's no way I'll be in town. Well, I mean, I'll get into town right on the dot of starting, I reckon. It's already 7:31, Groovers. So anyway, I pulled it out of the freezer the other day. AJ would be very aware of what trevally is like. It's very delicious, and it does freeze really well. So I took it out of the freezer, and I'm like, I could do some really yummy fillets. But when it's been frozen, even though it freezes well, better to whack it into a curry. I had all these curry leaves and mustard seeds and chili, and when I get home, I've just got to whack in a bit of coconut milk and warm it up while my rice is cooking, and I'm going to be shoving that curry in my gob. But I did use this with my fast slow cooker, and that's not very entertaining cooking to go live doing, because it's literally like, here's this big pot that I've plugged in. Watch me chuck in all the ingredients, whack the lid on, set it, forget it. Thanks for watching my live, everybody. I'm here all week. Try the schnitzel. What do you guys like better, Dirty Donkey or Charlie? I like both. I think people might be a bit wary of Dirty Donkey when you first slide in. That you might be a troll, but in a way that's good. Get them on their toes. And when they can see you've been around for a long time, they'll, But Charlie's a great name, and I haven't seen any Charlies on like on YouTube in chats or anything. I mean, there's probably some in those law network channels that have 50 million people in chat. Oh, you're pescatarian. Good girl. Although you could change your name if you want, or that word, because so many people now are saying they're pescatarian and they also eat chicken. But my godson, and I have several godsons, but one of them was raised vegetarian, but he was also given the opportunity, as all independent thinking children should be, to decide for himself. He's now full on carnivore. Whack a Wagyu beef in front of him and he's salivating, but much to his mother's disappointment. But what can she do? Nothing. But when he started introducing proteins into his diet other than tofu and eggs, he developed a massive fondness for seafood. And whenever I went up to Byron Bay to see them, we'd do like a godmother, godson dinner. And I was used to taking him to all these vegetarian restaurants. And one trip up there, I said, "What do you want for dinner?" And he said, "Oh, I want to go to the fish and chip shop in Mullumbimby." And I was like, "Fish and chips? I thought you were a vegetarian." He said, "No, I'm a vegetarian." And I thought that was so cute. So we use that all the time around our family. My niece is a vegetarian. There are mumbles that she might hit the stand tomorrow. Woohoo! Oh, yeah, so back to the thing about her not testifying. Look, it's the only way she's going to dig herself out of the giant shithole she and her lawyers have buried her in. I think she's too narcissistic to not take the stand. I honestly think she's so delusional because she hasn't flinched or reacted. If anything, she's smirked when all the evidence has come out about her abusing him. And I reckon she will take the stand because narcissists are charming, and you listen to the evidence of all of JD's witnesses. They all said she was lovely when they first met her. And I think she will be thinking she can swindle them all, and continue to try to paint a picture of Johnny just being the worst person on the planet. I don't think she realises the magnitude of the prosecution's evidence. And I also don't know. Oh, thanks, Graz. A lot of this stuff I'm just thinking for the first time, but I also think if she didn't give evidence, then how can she prove her counterclaim? That he's been a big fat bullshitter. Wait, someone wants to assassinate Trump or has? What? That's breaking news. Cement shoes, you've never eaten fish. I think I saw that in chat. I can't see it now, but I can see Charlie. That's cute. She did. She shit on the bed and didn't even deny it. Oh, that was just a practical joke gone bad, gone wrong. Where'd you think it was going to go? Like, you know what a practical joke is, Amber? Buying one of those plastic turds that we all got in trick show bags and stuff when we were kids. Remember you used to get the plastic turd and the plastic patch of vomit? I don't know if you guys got that in the US. I'm not painting Australia very well if you didn't. But, like there used to be game shops and stuff and you could buy pranks and things. A practical joke is putting one of those plastic or rubber turds on the bed and everyone thinking it's real. Not literally taking a dump. Like when we all went camping group of us years ago to Maria Island, which is a beautiful island up the east coast of Tassie. There were shitloads of snakes. There are shitloads of snakes, and the only snakes we've got in Tasmania, they will all kill you. Oh, can you repeat it? You fell off your chair for the attorney to say that about JD. Can you repeat that, Scout? I missed it. Oh, you do. You have the pretend shits and vomits. Awesome. Yeah, so we go to Maria Island, and every type of snake on Maria Island can kill you. We've got 5 types of snake in Tasmania, and they're all in the top 10 most venomous snakes in the world. It's awesome. But they don't bother you. They're fine. I mean, get in between a snake and his roosh, as in the chick he's going to shag, you will get bit. But for the most part, they're placid. But anyway, my boyfriend at the time thought it would be hilarious to take a plastic, like a rubber snake, on the camping trip with him and drop it into our tent one night. And we were literally surrounded by snake nests, like there were a lot of them. I want to know what made Scout nearly fall off her chair. I loved it when his security guard was asked about what Johnny's like on drugs. What's he like on marijuana? And then there's this really long pause. I don't know if Graz is still here, but I'm sure Graz would have loved it. And he just went, chill. I guess that's the right word. Mellow. And what was he like on cocaine, sir? Soon. He was chill. I mean, JD's got a very high tolerance that's been given out in evidence many times. His other gorgeous security guard, that Connolly dude, he his line about Jack Sparrow's more drunk than Johnny Depp. Oh, I didn't hear the possible assassination on Trump. So was that Johnny cracking a joke again that nobody got because he's so good at sarcasm? I still can't believe. Still cannot believe how badly he got reamed for quoting Monty Python. The burn the witch, and before we burn her, let's drown her. Like, how? Okay, the fucker to see if she's still dead bit was his own kooky addition to that. But that bloody Elaine, who sounds like Diane, being so serious. And it's like, have you not yet worked out this boy JD loves a good joke, and everyone around him does too? Have you noticed all of his team, not only are they down to earth, but their senses of humour is spectacular. All of them. Isaac, his mate from childhood, the artist, funny as fuck. Even Dr. Shannon Curry is funny. Like, they're all really likeable. Although I know that a few people didn't like the talent scout, the dude in the hat with the drilling going on in the background, but his evidence was crucial. So I'm a big fan. Oh, man, you've all stopped listening to me and you're talking about food, and now I'm getting hungry. Maybe I'll just open up my yogurt and granola and eat that while I'm driving. I won't. But I do have my homemade coconut yogurt, my homemade granola, which is lush, and a homegrown passion fruit that I will be slicing in half and adorning the top of my breakfast. It's a very homegrown breakfast. Oh my God. When I was on the breakfast show on radio, we changed the name a lot, but at one point it was the Homegrown Breakfast Show. My co-host, who was significantly older than me, came up with the name, and everyone at the station loved it. And I just kept laughing. I was like, we are seriously calling the breakfast show Homegrown. We might as well just call it hydroponic and be done with it. Oh, it was another rag magazine. Oh, I love that they keep using them. As Johnny said, that is a pathetic attempt. Your hubby loves to bake. I just said hubby, and I don't like people who say hubby. I mean, I don't dislike the people who say it. I just don't like the word hubby or wifey. In fact, wifey it irritates me more. But he loves to bake. Oh, so you're showing you can cook from nothingness. Go, you good thing. How nice to have a husband who likes to bake. That would be my ideal because I love to cook. I can make really good chilled desserts, but I'm not great at the baking. I'm learning. It does sound yummy. Yeah, I know it is very hippie-ish. Very hippie-ish. But the fact that they didn't understand why I thought it was funny is what made me laugh. I was like, you honestly are not getting this. You're not getting this. Like, homegrown marijuana. Dickie, I used to say. My co-host was called Richard, but I called him Dickie just to annoy him. And he called me Vicky to annoy me, so that, you know. But yeah, the homegrown breakfast show. Emily, oh my goodness me, hello. You need a husband that cooks, Trixie? I've been quite lucky. All of my partners, for the most part, not all, but most, have also been foodies too. So for us as couples, like banging out massive dishes and amazing dinners was a highlight, and just hanging out in the kitchen together. He destroys the kitchen. It's worth it, though. I'm so excited to see you, Emily. What have you been up to? Are you Depp herding? Are you buried in the Depp versus Heard quagmire? This is my last day of work this week. I have 5 whole days. Well, realistically, it'll be 3 whole days that I can get up at midnight and watch the trial. And will I be watching when Amber takes the stand? You bet I will. But more importantly, there is no way in hell I'm missing her cross-examination. How wonderful that I've got 5 days off. Yeah, that's the joy of being a part-timer. I must admit, I do like it. I realistically at some point will have to increase my days because although I'm coping financially, there's going to be a time where I'm like, this is actually getting a little bit too frugal. But I guess the benefit of being a lawyer at this age is you can work part-time and still get a pretty decent wage. Although, I mean, I am a community legal lawyer now, so legal centre lawyer, so we don't get paid a lot. Most lawyers with my experience would probably be getting paid 3 times what I'm getting, but it doesn't bother me. I'm happy. But that is one benefit of doing a law degree is that there's a lot of part-time lawyers over 50. I am very appreciative of that opportunity. Batshit 22. That was a fun episode. Batshit is tomorrow night, by the way, guys. I reckon what I'll do is get up and go to the gym and get some food, like do some grocery shopping and supplies, and then probably have a bit of a snooze and then get up and do batshit with Finn and then probably stay awake till the trial starts. Your salary, so your normal hours or overtime for free. No way! But the perks of your job make it worth it. See, if we do overtime in the agreement that we've negotiated, because fortunately the organisation I work for initially emerged from unions, so we're under really good terms. I mean, the salary isn't huge, but then they make up for it by paying us 17% superannuation, which is awesome. But we also get things like if we do overtime, that accumulates as time in lieu, and I've got like a day and a half of what it's called toil, time in lieu. So I don't need to use annual leave when I take holidays. I can use that day and a half. And by the time I do go on on leave, I won't actually be dipping into my annual leave, which has a dollar value. So if that accumulates and you leave a job, you get paid out the accumulated annual leave. It's kind of like an incidental savings account in a way. Your favourite scenery? Yes, we're heading over the causeway. It's already 10 to 8. I am going to be late. I'm not going to be late. I'm going to be there on time, but I'm going to be racing from the car into the office, I reckon. Oh, and Emily, when we get up to Midway Point, the point up here in between the two causeways, they've, I don't know the last time you were with me on this drive, but the huge cement walls, like the massive retaining walls that they've put in because of the roadworks, they've now made it look like sandstone, and I really like it. It's divided the community, but I'm all for it. The sky is blissful. Isn't it beautiful? Hey, Shady Man. How you doing? Oh, here's the thing. I don't know if Graz is still around or if someone in the US can explain this. When I was listening to Rakita and co last night falling asleep, one of the things they were talking about is how the jury is crucial in this trial, like the outcome. But then while they were discussing that, somebody I'm not sure if it was in the chat or on the panel, said it doesn't matter what the jury's like because of the publicity of this case. The judge will ultimately make the decision. Is that true that could happen? Because that's odd to me. That doesn't happen here. We have very high profile cases and the jury gets to reach the verdict. But I hadn't heard of that before, like that there's some sort of opportunity to make the judge decide rather than the jury, or was that person speaking out of their butthole? Oh, Charlie, thank you. You're so sweet. Thank you. For Sunny, and it does go to little Sunny Bum. Oh my God, I've received my tax papers that I have to do for my channel. I've got USA tax forms to fill out. The jury is apparently made up of a majority, 7, I think, youngish men, 25 to 35 years old. I know the judge can do the money. The quantum of the judgment can be in the judge's hands, because the jury could go, give him 50 trillion. Blissful. Hello. What a nice name. Hello. It is appreciated. Sunny will love it. I need to do a proper video of her playing on that cat tower thing that I bought her with all of the super chat money from last year for Christmas. She's addicted to it. She loves it. She pole dances around it. Scout's seen video of her. In addition, there's a video of her mucking around on it on my channel, but yes, I've got to fill out my first ever tax form for the US, and tiny, tiny boxes. Oh, it's Lorianne. Hi, gorgeous. I recognise the photo vaguely. The phone's far away from my face, but it did look familiar. I like your name, Lorianne. I like people that are choosing names that are positive. Oh, and we briefly started chatting about the sidekick channels. I unsubbed from all of them ages ago because so many of us have been on YouTube for quite a few years now, and we've seen this stuff happen in our communities 2 or 3 times already, where a new channel appears and at the start everyone's curious about them and people are piling in to see what they're up to, and then people start breaking away and going live, slamming the other channel, and they call themselves awareness channels, but they're not. They're just little offshoots. And look, I definitely chatted to a lot of them at the start, and I found a lot of them to be really funny people, but it's just so familiar to us. We've seen this happen in our communities before. And I don't have the energy to go again. Like, the shit we've all been through and seen several times already is the same shit. So I unsubscribed ages ago because I just couldn't go through it again. And it's very easy to walk away from new channels because you don't have any kind of... Exactly, Charlie. They're all hate channels. And, you know, there was a time when we were all having fun. That's when I met you, Charlie. We were having fun when we met. Wasn't a dress. She's looking more Amish. She is. I only caught a bit of her. I don't like the burgundy either. She should have stuck with saintly white and let Johnny do sexy black. I was thinking of the word sexy while I said, see, look at the sandstone up here. Change the subject, Tori. I just called Johnny Depp Jenny. He'd probably laugh at that. But yeah, she's looking very Amish. At least she's stopped copying Dr. Shannon Curry. But I'm not a fan of burgundy. It's like, why? She's starting to dress like her lawyer now. Now she's mirroring her lawyer, Diane, from Diane's channel. Hey, watching Draining, Toxic, and there's so many interesting people on YouTube, as you know, AJ. Like AJ and I, AJ introduced me to the lovely Graz who was in chat before. There's interesting people out there, but the interesting people will never be huge channels because YouTube has proven time and time again, you want thousands watching you or even hundreds, bitch about other YouTubers. I think he'd love that I called him Jenny. He'd probably respond and call me Douglas or something. Yeah, the 70s, you mean a 70s or 80s Vogue? She looks ridiculous. I mean, now that we know her soul and heart are rotten to the core, but before we knew that, like, although I think her cheek implants are a bit severe, they're a bit pointy or sharp. My God, it's nearly 8 o'clock. She's like the teacher from Little House on the... That is perfect. She is like the teacher. She's actually like the mother from Little House on the Prairie too. Dun 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 dun. Diddly dee dee dee. I love House on the Prairie. Oh my God. I so wanted to transport myself to that. I wanted to live in that show. Oh, I loved the books too. Oh, totally obsessed. And I did think when I first came to YouTube about some troll names, I did think about being Nellie Olsen. You'll start worrying if she starts mirroring Rotten Yawn. I can't believe how villainous our legal team have become too. And it's their own fault. It's their own fault. Like when I started practicing law, before I started practicing law, I was a judge's associate to a Supreme Court judge for a year. Um, but we still, a lot of courts in Australia now have become a lot more informal. But when I started practicing, it was still the wigs and gowns and, the little white frilly thing that's called a jabot. And the reasoning behind that, we also would, under the robe, you would wear what was a black jacket. It was called a bar jacket. But the reasoning behind that was to strip away your personality, because you get a charismatic lawyer in court and they can get the most guiltiest person off just by getting the jury on side. So the idea of the wigs and gowns and everything was to essentially make all the lawyers look the same so that they couldn't be, overtly flamboyant. Their personality was not on display per se. I mean, lawyers would use their personality, but that kind of uniform appearance diluted a lot of it. And as a young lawyer, I realised, that we still could choose our skirts or our pants, our shoes, our jewellery. Like, there were ways you could still let your personality shine, I guess. But that's why this trial is fascinating to me, because all the lawyers have shown their personalities so explicitly, and Amber's lawyers have just been incredibly good at making Amber look even worse than we all thought she was. Like, they just keep making her worser and worser. But also their personality. You love Colin Firth wearing a wig. Yeah, and then Bridget Jones, who's the human rights lawyer. Oh, yeah. Emily's called me Traces of Nuts. I'm still, I've changed my name, Emily. But thank you for remembering my former identity. I only listened to her for the first time. Well, I tried to listen to her a couple of weeks in, and then I found something else I wanted to watch instead. Yeah, she's good. I like her. I think if we'd practiced law in the same city, we would have been buddies for sure. No, that's okay, Emily. I've changed all of your membership levels too to have sort of legally kind of names, legalese names. But you kept hydrated. You took a sip of water every time she objected. But yeah, their personalities, like, you want to endear yourself to the jury. It may not necessarily lead to an acquittal or a conviction in a criminal court, or a guilty or a not guilty finding, but endearing yourself to the jury is a really good strategy. And they're just doing a great job at repelling everyone. Whereas Ben Chu, you watch Ben Chu, Johnny's principal solicitor, attorney, sitting there like they're in primary school. I love watching those two together. He's been very frugal with his objections, so that when he does object, the jury pays attention. Whereas Diane from Diane's channel, Elaine, you can, without even seeing the jury, you can feel them rolling their eyes. And everyone on Johnny's team, like the lawyer in the blue jacket who patted him on the shoulder when he finished giving he finished giving evidence, and told him he'd done well, and the way they're all sharing their jelly beans and Johnny doing his little doodles, and I mean, they're just adorable. So back to the jury makeup. I reckon at the start of the trial, Amber's lawyers were like, you fucking beauty. We've got 7 dudes. They're all going to think Amber's hot, and they're all millennials. But I reckon now that jury and those boys, because they really are young, I reckon they all want to be Johnny's best friend. Because I think we all do. Yeah, the jury's going to side with the guy. We mean Johnny Depp is the guy? The guy. He is the guy. He's the man. As soon as I said that, now I've got the Killer's the man in my head, which is great because that's a good earworm. I don't mind having the Killers as an earworm. Even though that song is taking the piss out of Brandon. Pardon me. You reckon it's going to boil down to how they feel about the poop on the bed? Oh, fuck, now I've got human fecal matter. What was that? What was that? I am so late to work. But my first client is until... I started at 8:30 and I think my first client's at 9 or it might even be 10. So... Hey, have a beautiful time with your nephew, Blissful. Love your new name. Much love to you too, the Grumpy. Yeah, look, I reckon if Amber had put a plastic poop on the bed, the boys and the jury would have thought it was a good practical joke. But I just don't know how they wouldn't want to be best friends with Johnny, because we all kind of do. I reckon every girl and every gay boy at birth should be given a Johnny Depp as their life partner. What a wonderful world that would be if we were all given a Johnny Depp at birth. The heterosexual guys, I'll get back to you on who I think you should be given at birth as well. Yeah, I'd like to know that. Well, actually, I don't care about the origin of Grumpy. But I think it might sort of be like when you're little and your mum, when you're grumpy as a kid and your mum's like, have you done poo today? You know how we all get a bit ratty if we need to poop and we haven't? And little kids don't hide that. They very obviously haven't done poo today. I wonder if it stems from that expression. Well, yeah, all the heterosexuals would want to be. I mean, I think every baby should be given a Johnny Depp. So if you are a straight guy, Johnny's just your best buddy. Like every baby, every newborn baby should be given a Johnny Depp. Oh, you reckon Johnny should have ended up with Amanda Seyfried? Seyfried? I like her. She's got an amazing marriage and children, hasn't she? She's one of those ones that, and she's gorgeous. I think Johnny and Winona were a bit too volatile, but I do love Winona. Winona in Beetlejuice is superb, but I love her even more in Heathers. But Catherine O'Hara is actually my favourite in Beetlejuice. Actually, maybe Catherine O'Hara. She'd be good as well, a Catherine O'Hara type woman. Because you want someone who's funny, and Johnny is, like you don't want to give your newborn baby a humorless git. You want them to be with someone who can laugh in the face of adversity. But I do like that suggestion about Amanda because she's a good egg. She's gorgeous. She can act. She can belt out a tune. I love Johnny's singing voice. If the Hollywood vampires come to Australia, I reckon everyone in Australia will go, because we all feel so bad that some of the worst shit that happened to him happened in Australia. The entire country feels terribly sad that we're hearing evidence about how shitty a time he had here. I know that he loves Australia, but it's still, what happened to him in Australia is not cool. So I reckon we would all go and support the Hollywood vampires as a way of apologising. And I mentioned it in my live the other night. I don't know if anyone's done it, but rewatch the video of Johnny and Amber apologising about Pistol and Boo. He didn't smuggle Pistol and Boo in, she did. And he had to go along with it. Once again, he gets into shit because of Amber. But if you watch that video of that apology, which at the time we were all like, wow, that was very scripted and wooden and not very genuine. But if you rewatch it now, knowing what sort of relationship that they had, you'll analyse Johnny very differently. All right, we're cruising down the highway in the non-existent sun now, so I can't read chat. But yeah, I'd recommend everyone look up the apology video from Johnny and Amber about the Pistol and Boo saga in Australia. And when that video first came out, we all took the piss out of it, saying how insincere they looked and it was scripted and, you know, it was a load of bullshit. But now that you know what he was going through at the time, and he was really at the pinnacle of their relationship at its absolute worst at that time, you'll watch it and see him in a very different light. He's just exhausted by her. There he is sitting on, you know, international TV supporting her again when he would have been in such turmoil. He would have been like, I seriously can't believe, once again, I'm publicly embarrassed by this fucking violent wife of mine. It's actually quite sad to watch it. I feel for him. There's no affection between them at all. And you can see he wants to be anywhere in the world but then sitting next to her in that video. I feel bad for taking the piss out of that, what I deem to be a performance now. Now that we know the backstory, my heart breaks for him. He looks broken. He looks so broken. He's not looking sad because she smuggled dogs into the country. He's looking like a broken, abused man. It's very sad. But I think it's important that you watch it again because, again, I think one of the best thing that's come out of this so far is Johnny being able to tell his story and clear his name, or at least give his truth. Well, not his truth, the truth. I believe it's completely honest what he said, because he's been very honest about the damning questions too. That's the most important thing. But the next most important thing is how this trial is bringing DV against men into the arena, the public arena. And it's very empowering, and the ramifications, like I was chatting about the other day, are so important. If only one man on the planet, and I suspect there would be hundreds now, if not thousands, but even if only one man, because of this trial, recognises that he is in an abusive relationship, and he has the confidence and the bravery to speak up about it and get out of that relationship, this trial has been worth it. But I suspect it's going to impact a lot of men and also women. I would imagine that there are a lot of women who are in verbally abusive and emotionally abusive relationships who just, palm their husbands off as being rude and a bit mouthy when they've had a few beers or whatever, who will now realise that abuse takes many forms. So, yeah, I think the ramifications of it are going to be massive. But the other thing I think will be massive too, which I haven't covered yet, but I keep thinking and going back to this thought, is at some point something has to happen in the public arena to highlight people like Amber Heard, who totally diminish the real life experiences of victims all over the world. And I'm hoping that this trial will bring that discussion and that conversation to the forefront as well, because we see it happen so often where people play a victim and they're not, and they're doing it to garner sympathy and support and also to essentially destroy somebody else. But in doing that, they're taking away from the actual real life experiences of victims of domestic abuse. And that's what infuriates me about her. When I describe her as vile and horrific, that is what I'm talking about, that she has latched onto essentially the Me Too movement and used that to paint herself as a victim when she's not. How dare she diminish real life victims' experiences and be so disrespectful? Yes, it does also raise awareness of living with BPD too. I hope, though, that her lawyers don't try to justify what she did based on those diagnoses. Like, there are a lot of people living on the planet with all sorts of mental illnesses and disorders who don't abuse the fuck out of people. Choosing to capitalise on, and that's what I'm worried about, because it paints a very it paints a hideous picture of people living with borderline personality disorder, bipolar, narcissistic, to be honest, narcissistic personality disorder, the best thing you can do is run far, run fast. Histrionic personality disorder, like people who have also been diagnosed with those disorders. Every case is different. You've got to have a bit of wonky wiring to take it to the next level and lash out at people like she does. And I feel for people too, like if anyone is diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, if they're like, oh shit, you're not going to do an Amber Heard on me, are you? And again, that's why I think she's vile. I think she's so destructive. This isn't just about what she did to Johnny and his children and friends and family. She's actually fucking with people the world over. She's fucking with real-life victims of domestic abuse. She's fucking with people that have been diagnosed with mental disorders. Exactly, the majority aren't violent. In fact, a lot of them, and I know a few people with bipolar, which I know is different, One of my exes was borderline personality disorder and narcissistic personality disorder, and he was diagnosed with those. I'm not being a YouTuber going, oh, everyone's a narcissist. He was diagnosed. He was an Amber Heard, although he wasn't violent, but emotionally abusive. He was a pro. But my friends who have bipolar are actually hypervigilant that they don't let their conditions define them or justify their shitty behaviour. They're very aware that they've got this different wiring and it does make them have a very difficult life, but they're also incredibly mindful of how it impacts those around them, and they go out of their way. I mean, one of my friends will literally say to everyone, I'm disappearing for a week, I'll be fine, I need time out. Like, he recognises it and he literally just disappears. And it's very sad, but he does that because he needs a time out, but also he doesn't want anyone else to be affected by what he's going through. So, yeah, I hope they don't try to use that as some sort of, she wouldn't have done this if she wasn't living with these disorders, because I just don't think that will stick. I hope it doesn't. His doctor and nurse earned a fortune from him. He was very generous. I keep calling him Billy Connolly, but the security guard Connolly, the Scottish dude. And did Mr. Depp give you presents valued at $8,500? And he's like, $8,500? Oh no, he gave me way more than that. He was very generous. There's no denying that. I think he was a bit extravagant in his spending, but he's come from no money and he's suddenly got when he first got the role on Nightmare on Elm Street and he was getting paid $1,200 a week, he's like, I've never seen money like that before. So imagine when he's suddenly getting paid $52 million for a movie. Yeah, I think he's going to be a bit extravagant. But he was smart. He was extravagant with real estate. I mean, if you want to talk extravagant, what about her with her $500 bottles of wine? And what he saved $160,000 in their first year after they divorced for not having to buy her annual supply of wine. $160,000 worth of wine a year. Holy fuck. You loved the doctor who testified? I've loved all of his witnesses. I think they've all actually, I didn't. I did see a little bit this morning of a witness who was being questioned about pirates overnight for us. And he was essentially testifying that Johnny was a contender for Pirate 6, but he'd never seen anything in writing. I need to watch more of his testimony, but the little bit I saw, I was like, ooh. I kind of got what he was trying to say, but I don't think he explained it enough that the jury would understand where he was coming from. If he'd simply said, it's not the way things work, like in my role, there are discussions about Johnny being offered this, and then off it goes to the legal team and they start drafting all the contracts and agreements. Like, if he just said it is not out of the norm for us to literally have verbal discussions and contracts even without there being this paper trail. You know, we'd catch up over a coffee and we're thinking of putting Johnny in the next Pirate 6. You know, we're still nutting out details and figures and stuff. And they finish their coffee and off they go. Why would there be a paper trail? But yeah, I need to watch his testimony, but I mean, it doesn't hurt Johnny, I don't think. I think every witness has been real and honest and genuine, and they haven't shirked away from telling the truth at all. So I don't think it matters that all of his witnesses aren't as good as each other. I think the fact that they've all just been But it does annoy me. I think, like with a witness, you want to word them up in a way that they're sticking to their statement, but they make a very clear explanation of how things work and just leave it at that. I don't know who wants to be an amazing dad, but I bet you are. But yeah, do you know what I mean? Like a bad witness won't hurt Johnny. But I just think it's frustrating. The little bit that I saw, I was kind of like, I fully understand what he's talking about. It's like he participated in conversations about Johnny being in the next Pirates movie, but there's no need for a paper trail. If they've all met up for a beer and they're just chatting around a table or over a coffee, but the way he answered those questions, it was vague. It would have been better if he'd just said, we had a conversation. It was a conversation. That's it. Like, there's no, unlike Amber, we don't record everything. And I'm not the ultimate decision maker in terms of what Johnny will be paid or the terms of his contract. But I did participate in a conversation where Johnny being included in Pirate 6 was discussed. Full stop. Oh, okay. It sounds interesting, Emily. I've got a lot to catch up on. That's what I do when I drive home. I drive in and chat, and then I drive home and listen to bits I haven't heard yet. I will definitely be tuning in. And I don't think the guy that I'm talking about was bad, but some witnesses you need to word them up on how to give evidence, and less is definitely more. And just repeating a very clear statement like that, we don't make notes of conversations, we don't record them, would have been enough. But I'll watch the rest of his testimony because maybe he was a bit like that. But I think he was probably the weakest witness, even though he probably had some decent evidence that I've seen. But they can't all be Alejandro vaping and driving whilst giving testimony. What a champ. And again, this goes back to why it's a lawyer's trial, because there's just so much going on that we've probably all wanted things like that to happen when we've been in trials, and it never does. And the fact that this circus is happening, it's just so captivating. I mean, people the world over are captivated for so many different reasons, but the legal oddities of this trial, and for so many of us who've been trial lawyers, who would have given anything for an Alejandro moment. I don't know, it's almost exciting that this is happening. We're like, woohoo, finally. And I'll definitely, when this trial's over, I'm going to keep doing Better Call Tour court analysis. Like, it's reinvigorated my love of watching courts and trials. And so I don't know what we'll be covering next, but you're going to be getting a lot of me reacting to court TV, essentially. And it's a novelty to me too, because in Australia, it's not that often that these sorts of things are televised. It's rare, but if and when something... I mean, this is why Chris Watts was so addictive as well, because seeing everything playing out in court was sensational, but getting access to all of the discovery, that doesn't happen in Australia at all. That's what hooked me in, was, my God, this is like out here for everyone to see. And this trial being televised is the best thing that could have happened to Johnny. Like, he is literally telling his side of the story to an international audience. Oh, yeah, I love that you read that very well comment. That was a ripper too. I even loved him. He was being a bit cheeky, But I did love him when he was pointing out that they were tabloids and they were a load of shit and that it was pathetic. Like, in Australia, if a witness was like that, there'd be a bit of an order in the court being yelled out. But in fact, there probably would have even been an argument by the defence team that he was being vexatious if that sort of stuff happened in Australia. But because he'd already endeared himself so much, I think the judge is prepared to give him a bit of leeway, you know. But there were definitely times when his cheekiness was pushing the limit. Yeah, I loved that. You read that very well. Very, very well. That was funny. You should read the article. True, it's interesting. Who's Alison Boshoff? How does she know? But you look at interviews of him even when he was 21. It hasn't changed. That's him. That's his personality. All these people that were at the start were like, oh, this is going to be so bad because they're both actors. No, that's the real JD. But Amber has been acting her ass off in court. Why she thought, do you know what would have endeared her a bit to the jury? Would have been her smiling when Johnny talked about when they met and fell in love and the start of their relationship and the things in her that attracted him to her. If she'd actually broken out a little smile at those memories, but the fact that she chose to sit there with a big fat rod up her ass, all stony-faced and cold, like some humanity, you know, she smirks. Not going to lie, though, I love her reaction when he says they're the same size. That's the most animated she's been, was when he was pretty much saying, no, she's as chunky as I am. And then his little grin afterwards, he was so proud of himself for saying that. That was perfect. That was perfection. There's so many moments in this trial that are brilliant. And largely, they're just brilliant because there are people on the stand that are just being real. You imagine being part of his entourage, like working for him. Have you noticed that they're all witty, down-to-earth, natural groovers? You know, I think that's another reason why this trial's resonating with so many people is because we've all got friends that are, I mean, not genetically like Johnny Depp, but we've all got friends that just crack us up, and he's just surrounded by crack-ups. Oh, I know. We've had many a chuckle. And that in itself is the beauty of this trial because the subject matter is so horrific. You know, Johnny gave us all permission to laugh. He's the victim, and he can laugh in the face of adversity. I think that's one of the reasons this trial is so captivating because despite the horrific subject matter, even JD is able to laugh about it. It's very sexy. In any human being, you don't have to be as beautiful as Johnny to look at, but it's a very sexy personality trait to be able to laugh in the face of adversity. And that's one of the things I love about my job. I call a client, and at the start of the phone call, they are incredibly stressed and anxious and worried and confused and emotional and vulnerable. And sometimes, you know, literally, I don't know if I can say this word without getting this live removed, but, you know, they're having ideations, leave it at that. And by the end of the phone call, I have them laughing. It is the best feeling ever. And I acknowledge it. I say, the fact that you're laughing now is great. This is how we're going to approach all of this. It's very serious what you're going through. But let's laugh when it helps us. Shady Man asked about his job application. I need a job too. Wouldn't we all love to be in his team? But I don't think he hires very often because he's got people that have been with him for decades, you know? How often have Amber's, I mean, I've only seen the evidence of one of Amber's former employees, that Australian chick, who I loved. She polarised everyone. Everyone was like, fuck, that chick's a bit blunt. But yeah, she didn't last with Amber for very long, and she has no nice things to say about Amber. But Johnny's crew, it's like, oh, I've worked for him for 33 years. I've worked with him for 24 years. He's got a good crowd around him. He's got a good gang of peeps. He's got a great support network. Speaks volumes. Yeah, I put them at ease. We like to say that we re-empower people in their claims, because it is a confusing process and it is stressful, and a lot of them have got psychological injuries, and they're very vulnerable. But yeah, to have someone in tears at the start of a call and laughing at the end of it, it's a great feeling. I'm going to get some muffins for when I'm doing I'm giving away a little secret here, but I'm going to get some muffins. In fact, I'm getting them at lunch that I can chomp on while I'm watching it at midnight with a big mega pint of coffee. That glass in the Australian house that he pours the red wine into, that is a mega pint. There's no denying. There's no way in hell there'll be a park down here now. But I'm still going to have a crack just in case. I'm pretty sure that's a reserve park. Yeah. God damn it. I'm late. I don't know what was going on in the traffic today. It's crazy pants. There might have been a crash or something on the bridge. That can often lead to a slow tripping. Mind you, if everyone else is late, there may be some parks. But I will be literally ending this live and bolting, so oops. There's a park down there, but no, it's reserved. Yeah, so when I find a park, I'm going to be like, see you guys, I'm out of here. It's 8:36. I'm 6 minutes late. By the time I get out of the car park, I'll probably be about 10 minutes late. Nicely done. Please don't come out again. I think you're lined up. If you're not, you'll just have to wait. Oh, there was a park there, but it was a bit narrow. I've got this massive friggin' four-wheel drive up my clacker too. You don't have to tailgate, mate. Like, I'm looking for a park too. Plenty of parks here. Small vehicles only. I'm a small vehicle. All right. Guys, thank you. I will have a look at chat and everything a bit later maybe, but I'll be going live from midnight tonight in Australia. So Google, well, no, you'll get a reminder. I'll set a reminder and everything. Because, yeah, I want to watch it all with you and do some commentary. I know there's other channels that are probably way better to watch, but if you feel like popping over and saying good day to me, that'd be great. I'm going to be watching it irrespective of whether anyone joins me or not. I might as well be live while I'm doing it. Anyway, love you guys. I got to go. I'm late. Have a great day, everyone. A great night wherever you are. Love you heaps. See you again soon. Bye.